What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu, Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is the author of the book, A Soldier Against All Odds. He is a decorated combat veteran with multiple deployments who served 31 years in U.S. Army, including 9 years overseas in 5 countries. Wow. Please welcome Jason Pike. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm ready to rock.
I'm a little tongue twisted today. I don't know what my deal is, but as I say all the time, thank you so much for your service. I myself have such a great, special place in my heart for the men and women that serve for our country. I have many people in my family that have served in the service, and it is such a selfless act to go through not only the boot camp to take that kind of beating, but also to go out there and protect us around the world. So, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
31 years is a long time.
Ooh, it is a long time. I didn't think I was going to stay in that long. I just wanted to get an education and maybe look at a skill.
Yeah. I mean, but it became a career for you.
It became a career. Yes, it did. Everything was from the bottom, not only in rank, but in education and lots of other things. Yeah.
So what made you stay that long? Did you get the schooling? Did you get the education?
I did through the Army. I got everything through all the education and things through the Army. And so I looked at the benefits of the 30 days of vacation we get, and I looked at the travel opportunities and all the wild experiences that you can have. And also, I thought might be the only thing I can do since I haven't had a good time in college or in school in the beginning. And I thought that this would be a good place to just go move forward with. And so that's kind of why I did. I started out from the bottom as a private. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And you made it all the way up to it was a lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel is considered a senior manager in an organization. That's senior officer. And again, it was, how in the heck did I do this? How in the hell did everyone was asking, how did you? And so I said, well, I think I got a story here. And so I can probably inspire other folks how to survive, how to just keep on going forward and looking at the small achievements in life and building on them like a notch on a belt, just keep on going up.
Yeah. How often did you have to go into combat?
So I went hazardous duty El Salvador twice, but that was not combat. One time combat was Afghanistan. Okay. So combat was about a year. I had to, I've been in 5 different countries and 9 years overseas, a lot of South Korea time, El Salvador, Canada, Germany, and just other countries that I can't talk about. But so I've been to a few different places around the world.
Yeah, just a couple. So was it hard? So I never asked this question, and it's interesting. It pops in my head now. But is there a lot of politics moving up the ranks in the service, in the Army specifically?
Yes, there are. If I could have been more political, I would have been. I wouldn't had such a big problem, but I could not. I don't know. I only know how to be me. And there were some assignments that just accepted me as who I was. There were other assignments that are like, why in the hell is this guy in the military? And so the politics is in a lot of organizations. It's just that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
If you don't walk on and then the military, you move every 2 to 3 years and you go in even though you're in the Army, you go into various other little cliques and organizations.
Right.
And sometimes if you don't adapt to it that well to them, you're out of the club and you might find yourself in hard times. And so that does happen in the military, unfortunately.
That is unfortunate. What do you think the military is different today than it was when you served?
Yeah, the technology and things, we don't need as many people like a mass force.
Wow.
Or of you can plug and play the different skill levels. We got UAVs. It's not, a lot of people think about the military as, I'm going to go in and get shot at, or someone's going to shoot at me, which they have at me. But it's more, you got to think of the military as 90% or more are support people, logisticians, police officers, dentists, all kinds of, just think of a city and think of a small percent of a city is SWAT team members that actually go in, and so they've got everything. I think you've got everything in the military as far as a job of a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah. Right.
And just because you work for Coca-Cola doesn't mean you're going to drive a Coke truck. And
Right.
just because you join the Army doesn't mean you're going to actually go in and shoot people or get shot.
Well, right. There's different factions, right, of the Army to make it operate as it should, and just like in a corporation. So I get it. I totally. I mean, my fiance is a police officer, so I understand. He's got politics there too, so it's everywhere. You can't escape it. That's just the way. That's just the world we live in. So, what motivated you to write your book, A Soldier Against All Odds?
But everyone was asking the question, how in the hell did a dumbass do all of this? And I was asking myself the same question. And I did make a lot of mistakes, which is good for a story. And it was nagging at me for years and years and years. And so I waited until my mother and father, bless them, they passed away. So I don't want to dishonor them, but they're good people. But I was to be vulnerable and to be out there.
Yes,
It's not a normal thing to do. And I wasn't raised that way. And the Army doesn't raise you.
No,
The Army certainly doesn't raise you that way. And also part of the healing mechanism as well.
I love that. So, are you still friends with any of your buddies that you served with?
Oh, yeah. We're still buddies. They're around the world in different locations. Most of them have retired or have gotten out of the service.
Yeah. How do they feel about you writing this book?
They think it's crazy. They thought it was wild and crazy. And a lot of them, I thought a lot of them they just saw one particular aspect of me and didn't know all the others. And I didn't say anything to nobody.
Sure.
I tried to, whatever your dirty laundry is and other things, there was a whole lot of, if you go to the reviews, there was a whole lot of the soldiers who said, you surprised me. I can't believe you did this. And that's the same thing my father said as well. And a lot of other people said, how didn't you do? Well, that's the reason I wrote the book. I thought to give inspiration and hope to other folks in any phase of life they're in, whether in the military or not.
Yeah. Well, if you have that calling, you have to follow it. You should always follow your heart. And I think it's amazing that you did that. And, let's talk about some of the things that you did that are in the book that people are surprised that you did.
Woo. Well, like I said, South Korea, 6 years. A big story that's very difficult to talk about is I was a senior manager. You talked about politics in the military.
Yeah.
And I was a senior person. I was a lieutenant colonel. I went to South Korea as an assignment. I'd already been there twice.
Yeah.
I walked into a different clique in a different place that I was not prepared for. And I found myself facing a federal investigation.
Oh, yikes.
Which was total bogus. A lot of people you see I'm being investigated on the television. That I wasn't on the television.
Right. This is real life.
This is real. If I was on the television, I don't know. It would have been really difficult. But this, I was. But it's a lot of these things are just people want to throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
Ghostlight you. I didn't walk a different. I wasn't in the clique. I disagreed on a few things professionally, such as how to do my job and what my strengths are.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well. And therefore, I've started finding various events that were, I call them events. One was a true federal investigation that involved the CID, the Criminal Investigation Division, and the MI, the Military Intelligence.
Wow.
It was something there that's detailed out.
Yeah.
In that chapter. During a 2-year or 2.5-year process, I went through this as a senior person. I had a lot of good awards and recognition already.
All right.
And I found myself being faced as a ghostwriter. In other words, we don't care about what you've done, and we're gonna try to throw you out. And they tried to. I stayed there in South Korea and just faced the wind of all the bullshit that occurred. The bogus federal there was other accusations. When one thing didn't happen, another thing would pick up.
Sure.
In the beginning, the same clique said, "Well, you're a pedophile." Okay.
Oh my gosh. They actually said that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's detailed in that book. And so once that didn't work, then this is more formal. They hit me. I'll give them credit. They kept on trying to hit me.
Yeah.
Then that became a spy. In other words, I was considered giving secrets or doing things.
Holy cow.
So
This sounds like a nightmare. This sounds like a movie you watch on TV.
yeah, so it went from pedophile to now I'm a spy. So what they were doing is trying, and this was just one particular station that I was at for 2.5-3 years that did this. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say in the book that I'm not perfect and I made mistakes before. So when you go and see these bizarre things that we just talked about occurring, you might think, well, maybe this, at the time I just was just trying to survive emotionally.
Yeah.
I couldn't even write who, what, when, where, and why on a sheet of paper. I didn't know what to do. I was scared that I was going to get kicked out of some bullshit accusation. And thankfully, there were people at the top that they won't say this. It's considered to be secret, but things get out.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It didn't work. So I did survive that, but it took a beating. It definitely took a beating on me. I would rather go to Afghanistan in a heartbeat than face a peacetime federal bullshit thrown under the bus type of an event, which was totally. It was unexpected. I didn't know these things happened. Another term is called the takeout or the takedown.
Yeah.
You can create in an organization, well, at least in the military or the government, you can say, if you've got a particular group of people that kind of own a space and they don't like you or whatever,
Yeah.
they can throw things around to try to get the attention of the higher folks.
So like the Mean Girls.
It's kind of like the Mean Girls in a more professional form. Yeah. So yeah, it would be that. And it would be, and it was bizarre. It was a bizarre, that was the hardest chapter to really write about.
That has to be almost be like a nightmare. How do you fight that? Do you like, I know for my fiance, like he gets special representation if he gets like, they call it a CI number or something, like, he's got to go to IA, and if he's under investigation, like doesn't happen very often, but occasionally things happen, and that so how do you defend yourself in the military? Do they provide you with like an attorney or something?
Yeah, they had a military defense attorney that I went to talk to and a few different times, and he heard he didn't want to say what he was hearing and seeing, but he says, if you ain't doing anything like you're telling me, then they ain't got nothing on you, but they're going to be following you around. They'll be doing special monitoring activities. And so you just watch your six a little bit more than you would. But that's their job, is to try to find something on you because someone sent something out through a hotline, which was there's hotlines for everything. That mine was subversion and espionage against the U.S. government hotline. And so there I was going under the stress of that, just various events that occurred. See, when pedophile didn't work, then they went to something better, which was the investigation, where I had to go get legal representation. But these things would just occur. I called them events that occurred for 2.5-3 years. And and so I think that even if you're in a professional organization and you think that you're safe, you may not be, and you may still have to be careful with things. But I didn't do anything illegal, immoral, or nothing like that. I just said a few things professionally that pissed some people off, and they were in a clique, and they decided, well, let's get this guy out.
You were a target. Yeah, you were a target.
I became a target. And I will admit, I walk a different walk and talk a different talk, and I ain't as smart I've got strengths. They've got the strengths, but I wasn't in their strength area, so they're like, we got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
And but that didn't happen. So that didn't happen. And just to have got through that, it was probably the biggest stress or the deepest time that I ever had.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. That just sounds like, I mean, you probably are like, is this reality?
Yeah, how can you go from being a pedophile to a spy? And then after that, now I wanted to test who was behind it, and I kind of got an idea. And what I did was, I was invited to a party, and I saw the person I thought was the perpetrator of it.
Yeah.
And I went to him and I said, you know what? I lied. I said, I'm staying in Korea. I'm not going anywhere. He turned on his heels, walked away. And the next day, a subordinate of his called me up and said, we got to create this organization, a new organization on Monday. That was on a Friday. On a Saturday, one of his minions or pinions or whatever called me up and said, we got to do something. On Monday, all hell broke loose with the email of creating the special organization. You know what I'm saying is they're trying They're just trying another event. It didn't work. And when Washington D.C. people were calling me and says, Jason, what the hell's going on in Korea? And I says, well, I pissed somebody off. I told them I was going to stay in Korea. It ain't about any special organization that's being developed. It's just that I pissed somebody off because I lied and I told them I was going to stay in Korea because I was trying to pinpoint the person.
Sure, I would be too. Like, how do you figure that out without like making it like, without making it very obvious?
Yeah. So I just said, I'm staying, and no. And so that special organization that they were going to have, which was a game. It was just a game.
Right.
It didn't happen. And I had to tell the people in Washington D.C. because I was kind of a senior guy, and they're like wondering what the hell's going on in Korea. I said, well, I just tell you, I just tell those folks that I lied and I told a particular person that I was staying in Korea. That may have also helped out with the higher level folks understanding what the hell was going on before, and meeting with all the other stuff. And so yeah. But no, that's kind of what happened. After that, come back to America because I finished my assignment successfully. Well, that's the first bad evaluation I ever had over there. It was a pissing contest, but I come back. My father dies. I'm coming through a federal investigation. My father's dying, and I've got all this stuff built up in me. And that while he was dying, they said, "Well, you're going to Afghanistan to take a command of a unit over there," and that was like a triple hell. I was trained for Afghanistan, but I wasn't trained for my dad's death or all that. Yes, that occurred over in that other assignment.
Yeah,
so I had a whole lot of stress that was coming out, and that was a very, very tough time to go through.
Yeah, I bet. I had a couple questions. I guess, what would be your advice to someone that might be experiencing something like that now?
Okay. If you can get the details of who, what, when, where, and why these things are happening, I couldn't write it. I couldn't because I was emotionally surviving. But if you can just find a way to get the details of what is going on and put it in your own words in detail, the more detail, because details don't lie, they're there. And it's almost like a log.
Right.
I did some of it, but. And then you would have to find a trusted person or with me in the military. I think if I could have turned it into the Inspector General, not that they're going to do any justice for me, but they have special privileges. They can talk to commanders, talk to a chaplain, not necessarily for just spiritual help, but they have special authorities to go to the higher level people to say this is what's going on.
Sure.
So you can do that, and you maybe a medical person that's in line. Because we're all maybe give it to a medical person and allow them to give it to other. Because in the military, you don't break the chain. You don't want to break the chain of command. You can't go through them, and you have to go. But there's other ways to get around it. And if you got the details there at the time, I was just trying to survive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's our like natural instinct is to do what we have to do to survive. And so I don't blame you for that. But now hindsight, at least you are able to put this on. Write this book and offer someone, some advice and some clarity and maybe some direction if someone might be going through that, whether it's in the military or corporate, because, it's still politics either way, politics is dirty. That's it. We all know that. Right. They didn't hide that over the last couple of years. They were like out and proud of how dirty they were. Sorry, not sorry, but so do you have your book handy that you could show it?
Sure. It's the Blue Book. It's on Amazon. It's A Soldier Against All Odds. A Soldier Against All Odds. It's on Amazon. You type it in your browser. There's some other websites that it's on. You can find me on social media through my website, jasonpike.org. Has jasonpike.org. And yes, you'll see it everywhere. I'm on lots of podcasts and lots of other social media.
Excellent. You guys, I'm going to put those links in the show notes. So if you want to learn more about Jason's story and support him, go click that link, go follow him on social media and purchase the book on Amazon. As we know, Amazon is very quick, so it's very easy to order that. Jason, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
As long as you in a profession or a job, if you just sort of showing up is good. Showing up at the right place, the right time with the right attitude. Because I wasn't the best. I was less than best. Actually, I got a learning disability verified by professionals 3 different times. But if I just showed up and you try and you never quit thing, even if you're not getting it, just keep on trying to try. The people who hire will know that, and they'll take they may give you a break. Right time, right place, right attitude.
I love that. That's right. Just keep trying, just keep going. Don't let your weaknesses do not have to be your setbacks. So I love that. Well, Jason, thank you so much for sharing your story. I love it. I feel like you have a lot of wisdom with all the time that you put in and the experiences that you went through. So I'm excited to see you make an impact. And I think maybe you might be doing some speaking engagements. I kind of see that in the future, but I don't know.
That's one of my goals, is to get into some more speaking engagements. I would like to. I've got 2 things in South Carolina I'm going to, and hopefully I'll get up there and speak a little bit with them. So
That's right. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
hey, you're welcome. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.